Yes, good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I've started recording this session, and today we're going to be talking about building systems from Ibadan, Oyo State. Thank you so much, Sister Abdullah. Right, and today we're going to be talking about building systems that set your child up for school success. My name is Marufa Otolorin, and I'm the founder of Lola Loves Parenting. So every Friday, we're always here on our Telegram community where we talk about parenting. Yes, it's worth talking about weekly because, of course, there are so much. Oh, from Abeokuta, thank you so much, Sister Nima. Help me greet Abeokuta people. Right? So there's so much to learn. There's so much to unlearn. There's so much to relearn. So, of course, why shouldn't we do this? Right? So, and today's session, we're going to be talking about building systems that set your child up for school success. As we all know that schools would be resuming very, very soon. We have about a week or two for schools to resume. And we definitely need to talk about this because we definitely need to put the right things in place. We definitely have to concentrate on the most important things. A lot of the time, we don't concentrate on the most important things. We see, resumption has a time for us to spend, buy school bag, buy new school shoes, buy new cooler, buy new food flask, and all of those things without even putting the necessary things into perspective, right? So, and that's why it is important for us to talk about this topic. Why we're not talking about back to school exactly. We're going to be talking about the systems that we need to build to set our children up for school success, right? And this session is designed to equip parents with systems that they need to build to set their children up for success in the coming school year, right? Another challenge that I have noticed is that a lot of the time, parents think that it is the school that their children attend that sets them up for success. I'll take that again. A lot of the time, we think that it is the school that our children attend that set them up for success. While it is important to, of course, look at the school that we want to put our children. As a matter of fact, I was still asking too some days back. While it is important for us to, put our children in the best school, because of course, like I shared before, that environment is bigger than value system. So of course, the environment that we want to put our children is definitely important. However, the school is not the sole person responsible or the sole institution that is responsible for setting our children up for success. We think that it is the responsibility of the school to make our children smart, to make them intelligent, to make them get, have high grades, or to make them, what's the word again? To make them smart and intelligent. Let me put it that way. We are often so quick to blame the school if things are not going well. Our children are, maybe they are not reading when they are supposed to read. Maybe they are not doing the things that they are supposed to do. The things that we feel that we're supposed to do, we are so quick to blame the school. Excuse me. We're so quick to blame the school. Or if we're not even blaming the school, if we've heard and we have that notion that this school is one of the best in this place and blah, 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 we blame our children. We call them dumb. We call them olodo, like, that popular, Yoruba parlance that we use, right? We come to that conclusion. But the truth is that we as parents are the ones responsible for the academic success of our children. We, being the first teachers of our children, are the ones responsible for the academic success of our children. I will appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. We as parents are the ones responsible for the academic success of our children. Right. So if we are now responsible, or if we have taken responsibility for our actions, there are definitely systems that we need to put in place to help our children to build that, success. Right. Thank you. We are the ones. Right. There are systems that will help your children to actually be in that part, to make success attainable for your children. There are systems that you need to build. Right. For everything that is successful in this world, there are definitely systems and structures that have been put in place. And our children's success is not something that we can exclude from, those things. So it is high time we now start taking responsibility for our own things, knowing fully well that the first thing we need to do is first to accept that, because accepting that will now help us to say, okay, what are those things that I now need to start doing to actually set my children up for success, to make them to attain that success that I want for them. Right. While the classroom and the school as a whole is a place of learning, yes, it is a place of learning, right? Everyone knows that. It's a place of learning. The classroom is a place of learning. But we need to also know that the classroom is not the first place of learning for our children. And it is not also the last place for learning for our children. The first place of learning is the home, is our home. The quicker we begin to realize this and accept it, the better it's going to be for ourselves and for our children. So if your child is not learning at home, your child will definitely struggle to learn in school. I take that again. If your child is not learning at home, your child is going to struggle to learn in school. That's one thing that we need to know. Because the home is first of all the primary place of learning. It's the learning hub of that child. And this is just because we have not built that skill of learning at home. And then they go to school and there's too much of pressure. And that's why we said that if your child is not learning at home, your child is definitely going to struggle to learn in school. Because there's a lot of pressure. There's so much going on. There's so many subjects going on, especially with, the type of curriculum that we run back in the country. So there's a problem already. So if you don't put your child in that place whereby they have already seen learning as something that is fun, as something that is normal, as something that should be enjoyable, by the time they get to school, the pressure is going to be too much on them and they're going to definitely find it difficult to learn. So there's something called building the skills of learning. So you need to build that skill of learning first as a parent. And we're going to, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. How do we build this system of learning? This is not something we have not spoken about before. But then we believe that reminding ourselves of all of these things is something that is beneficial to us. Reminder benefits us as believers, right? So when they go to school, they start to struggle. Like I said, there's pressure. Right? So we need to find a way whereby our children are going to be learning at home first before they even start going to school. You will find out that a lot of parents are not patient enough to allow their children to stay at home. Once the child can walk, then boom, we're taking that child to school. Because we feel that school, many people have their different reasons. Just for them, some to be able to rest, some to be able to have, a breathable, atmosphere, like people would say. Some, they feel that, okay, yes, it is time for them to learn, because we believe that the school is the primary place of learning, which is an error in itself, because the school is not the primary place of learning for children. And also, the home environment is not supporting the school to help the child to learn. If your child is not learning at home, your child will struggle in school. And that's because you've not built the skill that your children are supposed to learn. And another thing is that you have not created an environment that is supposed to support your child's learning journey. Right? So when we talk about learning, like I tell people, it's not just about your children having A1 all through. It's not just about your children having the best grade and all of that. It's a different thing. It's a whole different board game. So we need to know, it's not just about, a lot of the time, I tell people, think about it. A lot of us finished, with very good grades, but we find it difficult to learn. That is to tell you that there's a problem in that process in itself. There's a problem in that process in itself. So it is important for us to know that it's not about your children passing exams. It's not about your children having good grades. No, that's not what learning is. And one thing about the system that we have is that system has just nurtured us to cram and to pass examinations. You find out that we just read, we pass, but then we do not have mastery of a lot of things that we have learned. And that's why you see a child in geography has A1 or even have B2, but cannot read map. Cannot talk about places, cannot talk about, at least to talk about the world as a whole, to talk about some things relating to their own country. That's to tell us that there is no mastery. So we need to first of all create an atmosphere of learning in our home. That is one important thing that will help our children to actually succeed in school. So for children who are struggling, you will find out that there's a gap that is yet to be filled. That's just it. And that's why I love to say that whenever it is that you have a challenge with your child, you want to introspect. You want to look within. You want to see, what exactly am I doing right? What exactly am I not doing right? What do I need to step up with? What do I need to do more of it? Or what do I even need to start doing? What knowledge do I need to start gaining? These are questions that you want to ask yourself. Rather than turn everything around and call your child names and put every blame on your child. I love to tell people that Allah didn't give us our children damaged. Our children were given to us complete. It is whatever it is that we do or did not do that make our children. So a child who is struggling in school most likely does not need an extra subject teacher. This is where a lot of parents misses it. So, for example, what is very common or what is very popular is that a child is struggling with mathematics. Then what we want to do again is that we want to get an extra mathematics teacher. Then we now start focusing on the minor and we leave the major things. We now start focusing on our children's weakness and we now, we leave their strength, which was supposed to help them to build, to nurture. So it is not about getting extra lesson teachers for your child because it doesn't work. So your child has gone to school, finished school at 2 p.m., has an extra lesson in school, then come back to meet a lesson teacher or something, does not help your child because the brain doesn't learn that way. So we need to understand this first. What our children actually need is that they need we need to understand the fundamental of learning, the foundation of learning. We need to understand, what learning means to our children's unique being. So we need to know, and we need to take it off. We need to take it off our mind. We need to take it off our brain that a particular child, this one is not just smart. There's nothing like that. Or this child is just dumb. There's nothing like that. Allah has created everyone for their own purpose. Allah has created everyone for their own purpose. All still back to serving Allah. But there are certain things that we also do. So no child at all is born dumb. As a matter of fact, every child is a genius. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. Every child is a genius. It is your style of raising them that de-geniuses them. I would appreciate that. Every child is a genius. It is your style of raising them that actually de-geniuses them. And we'll break this down so that we'll get to understand. It is our style of raising them, of nurturing them, that actually de-geniuses them. Right? So, the default approach, what we were used to, what we were raised with, what we learned, and that's why I keep saying it, that there are a lot of things that needs to be relearned. There are a lot of things that needs to be unlearned. Right? So the default approach is that what we use for our children is that it doesn't make them to learn like they should learn. Thank you so much, Miss Nimat. It is our style of nurturing them that actually de-geniuses them. So the default approach that we use for our children doesn't make them to learn like they should learn, because we are only focusing on letting them complete homework. This is something that we really need to look into as parents. It is not just enough that the only way we support our children is help them with their homework. How does that even help that child? If all that you do is help the child to finish up their homework. If a child has brought a particular work home and that child does not understand and that child does not know how to complete that task, let him take it back. It means that that child has not learned that thing. So if you help that child to finish that homework, you are passing a message across back to the school that this child already knows this thing. That's exactly what happens. And you don't want to do that for your child. You don't want to be in that place whereby you help them to do their homework and everyone now feels, we now just assume. We assume that child knows that thing already. So that's our default. We just want them to finish exam. We want them to finish homework. We want them to pass examinations. We just want them to pass. We don't want them to fail. And the truth is that to actually raise children who are successful, they will fail. They will fail. They must fail. That's it. Because you can't just do something once and you just get it like that. You will try, you will fail, you will fall, you will stand and you continue again. But the problem is, as parents, we do not even want to see our children struggle. We don't want to see them fail. So we are always going back to that default approach of helping them to finish their tasks, helping them to finish their homework, helping them to read to pass examinations, helping them to, get good grades, and we continue. So we didn't really learn. We didn't really learn. A mentor would, say something like, think about it. Let us sit down and reflect. Let us sit down and reflect about, how we lived our life. Look at the things that we did while we were in school. How has it served us today? How is it serving us? Apart from the fact that, okay, yes, I used the certificate to get this job and I got this job. What even happened a lot of the time in the job is that they now start training you to now fit for that job. Does this make any sense to you at all? We now start being trained to fit into that job. That is to tell you that there's something wrong to that fundamental. There's something wrong to that foundation. So children are not necessarily learning. They are just cramming to pass examinations. So we do all of those things just to make our children come out in flying color, like we always say. And this is something we really need to look into. Is it okay? What exactly is our goal when we are in that space? Some people are so extreme to the extent that they have allowed fear to grip them to the extent that you even find them buying special centers for their older children, maybe to pass JAMB, to pass WAEC and all of those things. That is to tell us that we have lost that essence of even going to school. We have lost it. We don't understand it. So if we actually want to set our children up for success, we need to make them learners, lifelong learners, continuous learners. That's exactly what is going to help them. We cannot just put them in spaces whereby they just pass exams and, they just go on like that. So what now happened? It ends up making children cram for examinations. And the moment they complete their exams, what happens? We forget. It happened to us. But we shouldn't allow it to happen to our children because it didn't serve us. We just cram everything. We just cram everything. We pass that exam and we go on. We move on with life. We have passed. But like I said, I think I made mention of it last week that, those things work for that industrialized age. It doesn't work for this age because we are in a knowledge-based age. If there's anyone who you will see who is thriving, they have to have a deeper knowledge of whatever it is that they are into. They need that knowledge. That is what they need. So they need to be in that space whereby they keep learning because the world is changing. The world is evolving. So they forget everything that they read. So therefore, there is no mastery of whatever it is that they have read. So we first of all need to change our definition of success before we can now start to put put our children in a place whereby they are actually successful. What is our definition of success? Is it just having a first class? Is it just having a result? Is that our definition of success? We need to start from there first, then we now start putting the right things in place. So we need to know that learning is beyond passing exams. It's not about my child is between first to third or first to 10th, then my child is doing well. No, it's not about that. It's not about my child is doing 95%. While that is also important, there are other things that are more important than that. And the truth is, if we now focus on those things that are more important, you will find out that your child will thrive in school. They will thrive in school. So that means they are doing well. No. It is not about them being between first to third position. And the truth is that because of what we want, even schools have begun to put themselves in a place whereby they themselves now try as much as possible to not do the right thing, but supply answers for our children to pass examinations because that is what parents want. And of course, like someone will say that the people that we have are business owners. They are not school owners. They are business owners. They just want to make money. And what do? They try as much as possible to please you. To please you. To make your child to achieve, to get that good grade, then you are happy. So we need, first of all, as parents, we need to start changing this mentality because that is what is going to help our schools to actually be in that place where they should be. So setting your child up for success doesn't need you to be extreme. It doesn't need you to be extreme. It doesn't need the whole of everything. It doesn't need the whole, millions. It doesn't need, the best school and all of those things. No, that's not what it is. So we become too extreme, like I said. We become helicopter parents. We're always in that space whereby we're rescuing our children. Oh yeah, where's your homework? We now do it to the extent that we do the wrong things. You now see parents holding canes, wielding everything just to make their children to finish an homework. The question is, what are we getting from that? So we either be in that place where, it's a process. When they are little, when they are very young, you start to hold their hands to write 1, 2, 3. Yes, that's what we do. We hold their hands. So yeah, 1, 2, just to finish that homework. That's where it starts from. So it starts from those little things. Then it moves gradually to helping them to complete their homework, telling them, oh yeah, write 2 here, oh yeah, write 3 here, oh yeah, close it, oh yeah, put it in your bag. It moves there. Then again, when they get to secondary school, it moves to buying them special centers to pass their exam. We're always, hovering over them because we do not allow them to enjoy that love for learning. So all of these acts are rooted in fear. If you look at it, sit down, think about it. Why exactly am I doing this for my child? You'll find out that it's all rooted in fear. The fear of not wanting your child to be behind. Right? You see that talk of all your mates are. It even happens to us as adults. And that's why we're pressurized. We're constantly in pressure. All your mates are. It is that fear that is actually making us to do the things that we do. Not necessarily because of that child. Think about it. Sit down and think about it. The fear of, what will people say? My child carry last. My child is not doing well. It is that fear that is making us to do all of those things. The fear of being judged. Your child does not do homework, and you can't come out straight to say that child does not understand that thing. You need to make him understand if you want him to finish that homework. We don't even know what to fight for as parents. We don't know. So this is something that is very, very, very important. So you will now put your fear on your child. Your child also now has that fear. And one thing that fear does is that it doesn't make a child to learn. A child cannot learn in fear. No one can learn in fear. No one at all. You need to be safe first of all before you can think of learning. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. You need to be safe first before you can think of learning. So that's the problem. We put the fear on our children because of, hey, what will people say? Hey, my child did this. Hey, my child did that. We do it to the extent that we don't allow our children to face the consequences of their actions. Hey, your mate, hey, your mate, hey. Then we put the fear on our children. We see ourselves eating them, beating them, just for them to be able to do something that they might not use later. So it's something we need to sit down and actually think about. Because if we don't we'll keep repeating the same mistakes. We'll overdo and, we'll be in that space whereby we overdo it and we're not still getting the result that we want. Right? So these are the things that we need to look at first of all before we now start talking about building those systems, because you won't be able to build that system. Yes, you need to be safe first. Thank you. Before you can build that system, you need to unlearn some things. You need to relearn some things before you now start building that system that actually helps to set your child up for success. Are we together? Are we together? Please let me know if you are with me. If you are getting value from this session, please don't hesitate to share with other parents. Let them know that something is going on right here and let them also come and learn. Just kindly put it on your WhatsApp status and let those who see it, let them, even if it is for them to join, right? Join today. Invite them to also come and learn. This is something that is important because, of course, they're definitely going to be in the same, schools and all of that. So please, this is important. Share the link with someone, share it with your parents to also come and learn, right? So now let's now go to the system that actually sets our children up for success, right? And the first one that we're going to be talking about is our environment at home. Our home environment. We're going to help us put that in the comment section. Our home environment. Your home environment is a key factor in setting your child up for school success. I'll say that again. Your home environment is a key factor in setting your child up for school success. If your home environment is not stimulating enough for your child to learn, and your child is not learning, like we said from the beginning, your child will struggle to learn in school. Are we together? Your child will also struggle to learn in school. Thank you so much. Your home environment is a key factor in setting your child up for school success. If your home environment is not stimulating enough for your child to learn, and your child isn't learning, your child will struggle to learn in school. You need to know this. We said it from the beginning that we are the primary, we are that first teacher of our child. So your home environment, how have you made your home environment a place where your child can learn? You want to ask yourself, you want to begin to ask yourself, what exactly have I put in place that my child is learning from? So your home environment must be built to encourage your child to learn. It must be built in that way. We still have lots of parents in this century that don't even have, even if it is a small place that their children can learn. We have people that don't even buy books for their children, except the textbooks that has been recommended in school. You are doing your child a disservice if you are in that space. You are doing your child a disservice if you are in that space. So you need to put, a system whereby it is encouraging for your child to learn. Your child will not even have a choice than to just pick that book, than to just, look at something, than to just ask questions. Because they will ask questions, they will become curious. So what type of environment have you created? How do you begin to, prepare your home environment for your child to learn that later contributes to their success in school, right? So you need to build a system where books are not secondary in your home, but are also primary citizens in your home. Yes. You have to build that system whereby books are everywhere. Your children can get hold of books and read, irrespective of the type of book. Magazines, biographies, newspapers, storybooks, books. We need to now, we need to invest in them. If your child is finding it difficult, you need to create that atmosphere whereby they are eager to learn, because they know that when they pick this thing, there's something they will learn from it. If your child is in that age whereby they can't read yet, read for them, read to them. There's something it does. There's something it does to a human being. So there's no learning without learning how to read. There's no learning without learning how to read. And all of these things comes back to us as parents, because of course we are the model. We need to model what we want to see in our children. So you can't just be in this place whereby you're just dishing out instruction. You're going to carry your book. We have even turned reading to, a form of punishment for children. Right? Oh, you're going to carry, go upstairs now. Maybe your child has done something. Oh, yeah, go now and go and carry your book. You have been playing, like that. You're passing a wrong information to your child. Like, reading books is associated to punishment. You don't want to do that because you want them to have that joy for learning. So you need to build an atmosphere of reading. Reading is key to success. Children who develop love for reading will naturally develop love for learning. Someone should help us write that. Children who develop love for reading will naturally develop love for learning. And children who struggle to read will also struggle with learning. Children who develop love for learning will naturally develop love for reading. Will naturally develop the love for learning. And also, children who struggle to read, who don't read, will also struggle to learn. And when we're talking about books, like I said, we're not talking about school textbooks. Yes, they can read school textbooks, but don't make it look like, yes, that's the only thing that we can read. As a matter of fact, the school just has a curriculum that they use. And that's why we say that the school is not the alpha and omega of learning. It is not the alpha and omega of learning. It is just an institution that has been put in place for learning to take place. It's not as if it is the alpha and omega of learning. So reading helps your child's brain to process concepts and formal communication. A lot of the time, we just feel that when they read, maybe it's just for them to be able to speak English. My child is speaking English now. She speaks English fluently. She does this fluently. She does that fluently. No, it's not just about that. When your children read, they are able to understand concepts better. They are able to also communicate better. And one problem is that children who just cram and pass exam is that they have that inability to process concepts. Look at it. Do you know why we cram? Think who can give an answer to this question? Do you know why people cram? I would appreciate if someone can just say that people cram because of this. We cram because we don't understand the concepts. We now do agberu beso. That's why we cram. We don't understand the concepts. To pass exam, thank you. If we actually want to understand, that thing, or let me say that if we understand that thing, we will pass exams with it and the knowledge will still remain with us. But because we don't understand the concepts, You're just reading it. It's not even making any sense to you. You just close the book and then, yes, cramming can be good when you are trying to memorize the Quran. Yes. But then it is not something that you should just do when it comes to, exam. You just want to, no. A lot of the time, we do that because we don't understand the concepts that we are reading. We don't understand it. So a child who understands concepts does not need to cram. I like to break this down. I think a lot of people should have watched this movie, Three Idiots. It's a very old movie. But then there's a particular scene where, the owner of that film, of that movie was actually where the lecturer was asking about energy from that child. Who can remember that scene? And the other guy who just only crammed, what did he do? He was just saying everything. He had a very long definition, but he doesn't understand that definition. Then Amir Khan, I think, yes, that's his name. That's his name. He was able to say it in a simple way that everyone can understand. But the long definition that the other boy who crams does, what did he do? He just crammed, and he said it. No one understood what he was saying. It's the same thing. If you understand the concepts, you read to pass exam, and you also have that knowledge with you. Is there anyone who can relate to this? So this is something that is very important. The brain was not trained to actually learn. If you are in that space whereby all that you do when it is time, when your child sees book like this, hey, your child sees it, hey, I'm going to be, your child is not learning. You're doing your child a disservice. So let's try as much as possible to raise children who can think on their feet. That's the exact thing why learning is important. When somebody has learned something, they are able to think. They are able to think wide. They are able to imagine. Their imagination is wild. This is something that is important. We need to raise children who have that ability to think and solve problems. And not just people who have certificates and are now taking them around, not even knowing what to do with it. This is something that is very important. So your children shouldn't be first to learn. If you're in that place whereby you're forcing your children to learn, it's a problem, because what happens is that your child is just going to be doing garbage in, garbage out. Let's just put it there, to feel safe, to survive, because I don't want to be beaten. I don't want to be called olodo. I don't want to be insulted. So they'll just do the garbage in, garbage out for the exam. And because that is what we want as parents, because we don't know, our priorities are not, they are not the right ones. Because that is what we want. Once that children passes exam, you clap for them. You clap for them. Because you feel that is the most important thing. Then you hail them. You praise them when they are performing. And when they are underperforming, you chastise them. You insult them without even having a plan to help them. So think about it. A lot of us do not have that joy for learning. We don't. Like I always say, we have lots and lots of adults that are struggling to read, that are struggling to learn. I say this often. I say this very often. They are struggling to learn. Even when they come to that place whereby, yes, I want to learn this thing, and they pay for courses, they do all of these things, they end up not doing it because there's no joy. They don't have that joy for learning. So despite the fact that we all finish in school with a very good result and all of those things, nobody learns after that time. Nobody even tries to take anything. That's because nobody learns under pressure. We don't learn under pressure. Back in university, especially for those who went to public university, that pressure was there. Pressure of not rewriting a course. Pressure of, you just say, I must not rewrite this course. You cram, you put down, then you forget. No mastery. Are we relating to this? Right, so there are certain types of environments that actually discourages learning for children. Thank you, Umu Abdullah. Right, there are certain environments that discourages learning. A chaotic environment, a home where there is chaos, and that's why people have tagged me no yelling coach, and I accept it, because that child cannot learn under that condition. You see people brag about it online. Say things like, there's no how you want to do it. You will not yell. It's not possible. That's ignorance. It's ignorance. So your child cannot learn in a chaotic environment. So this is book, this is pencil, this is cane, this is pancreas and everything. Your child will not learn. Your child will only make, the brain of that child will just help them to do what you want them to do. And that's why, think about it. If you're in that space whereby you force that child to do that thing and that child does that thing well like you want, ask that child what that child learns the following day. Maybe the child will be able to tell you. Ask. A lot of us have experienced this. It's not far-fetched in our environment. But then we still keep using the same thing and we expect a different result, which is not possible. Right? An environment where all that you use to do assignments is, turning sticks, slippers, pancake, cane, and all of those things. Your child will not learn. Yes, your child can pass exam, but your child is not necessarily learning. And there's no joy of learning for your child. So that child cannot learn in that environment. So if you're on that table, go and get master your emotions as a parent course. If you can't do without helping your child, without you being in that place whereby you beat them, you shout early in the morning, you're in the WhatsApp group of those that cannot prepare their children for school without shouting and all of those things, please. As school is about to resume now, the best investment you can do for yourself is to get that master your emotion as a parent course. You don't, go and get it on our seller page. Please go and get it. The amounts that you used to get, the results that you will get when you take that thing, it's going to be transformative. I tell you, if you don't learn something new, if it is not transformative to you, come back. I will give you a refund of that money. This is something that I am promising. So go back, go to that course and take it. If you're in that space, I think I have analyzed how the brain works. If you don't know about it, you can go to my, go to our Instagram page and go and see. I analyzed how the brain cannot learn under pressure. So you want to take it. You want to take that course. This is the best investment you can do for yourself and for your children before school resumes. It's important. Because why should you be shouting? Why should you be screaming? Why? Why should you, be everywhere? Because your child wants to finish their homework, because you want them to learn. So it all stems from the fear that we have, like we explained from the beginning. The fear of failure, the fear of what people will say, the fear of your mates are in this place, you are in this place. That's exactly what the problem is. So the caretaker environment will only put your child in a survival mode. Let's just survive. Let's just finish this thing. Let's just like we were in our survival mode to what we were in the university. Let me shall not have carryover. Let me not just have carryover. But the joy of learning is actually not there. We need to take note of all of these things. So they won't beat me. So they won't kill me. So they won't do, let me just. And that is what has put us, a lot of us, in where we are today. Let's just be in that stage. We are shy eating. We are shy. We are not even thinking, okay, yes, how can I even contribute to my community? What can we do? How can we solve the problem? We're just there complaining. And that's exactly what happens when we can't be in that space whereby we think to solve problems. And when, a group of people are complaining about, hey, parenting is hard. Hey, and because you don't have a solution, because you can't think, because you can't do several other things to actually help you be where you want to be, you also join them. Yes, parenting is hard. Yes, it is hard work, but it is not stressful. If you put in the work, you get the desired results. This is something that I know, like I know my name. It's something that is very important. Then your children pass the exam and you praise them for it, and then the cycle continues. And it continues until they also start having their own children. We need to break that thing already. We need to do that. So you need to create, a psychologically supportive environment for your children to learn, so as for them to attain that success that you want for them in school. So you need to do something that is called, a silent and deliberate approach. A silent and deliberate approach. How do you do this? It starts from the toys you buy for your children from when they are small, from where they are, when they are very little. The books that you buy for them, you do a silent programming that your child does not even have a choice. Where is the screen to even watch? To now sit down with screen 247. Where's the screen? It's not available now. But you can see books around. Let them get bored. From their boredom, they become creative. Get your priorities, right as parents. Create a system that enables your child to read. Create a system. And it starts from you, like I always say. It all starts from you. Parenting is about you before it is about your child. It is even it's about you a lot of the time. It's about you. So you need to deliberately create that atmosphere whereby your children do not have a choice than to keep learning and to keep seeing learning as something that is fun. No matter how young your children are, get them books. Your 1 year, your 2 years, yes, they will tear it. Buy sellotape and do it back. A lot of the clothes that we buy and wear, it will not tear. It will tear now. So this is something that is very important. We want to think about it. No matter how young they are, start getting them books. Be deliberate. Be intentional about the games and the toys that you provide for them. You can't be buying baworo for your child in this 21st century. The question is, what do they want to learn from that baworo? Because that's what is common. You want to be deliberate. You want to be intentional. That's what it means to be intentional. Take screen away. Replace them with books. Get them things that will actually help them. Because it is when you pay attention to all of these things, we can see it as, does it really matter? Those are the things that actually contribute to children's success in school and outside of school, right? Because they get to learn so many skills that they need to thrive in life, right? Another thing that we need to do in building the system that sets our children up for success is that we need to understand how our children learn. We need to understand how our children learn. A colleague of mine was asking me, we're talking yesterday, and she was asking me, what do you think about having so many children? And I was telling her that, before I started learning about parenting and all of those things, I felt that I was going to have like 6 to 7 children. But then after I realized that I need to know this, because it is said that no two child have the same parents. No two child have the same parents, even if they have, biological parents, of course. But then children of the same parents don't have the same parents, which means that the way you treat A is going to be different from the way you treat B. You need to understand how they learn. You need to understand your child. And this is one topic that, yes, the LLP community have not started, but then it is something that I have started preparing, understanding who you are raising, understanding who you are nurturing. Because if you don't understand them, you can't help them. If you don't understand the child you are raising, you can't help that child. So how does your child learn? Is your child an auditory learner? Is your child a visual learner? Is your child a kinesthetic learner? If your child is an auditory learner, the school system that is being run commonly will help that child. So those are the type of children you categorize as smart. But if your child is maybe a visual learner can still, they can still try. But kinesthetic learner might not thrive in that type of environment. So understanding your child will help you understand, okay, yes, what type of school should I take this child? What kind of environment should I prepare for this child? Because this child is a kinesthetic learner. A lot of the time, kinesthetic learners are always the one behind. We feel that they are behind because we are not teaching them the way they learn. So these are the things we need to understand to set our children up for success. You need to find out, how does this child learn? Then from knowing how this child learns, you get to know, okay, yes, what are those things that I need to help this child who is a visual learner, for example, or who is a kinesthetic learner, for example. So if you want to find out if your child has a learning disability, we have so many learning disabilities. Some can be very prominent, some can be very subtle. Right, so learning disabilities are just those. It can be prominent, like I said. It can be very obvious. You see a child who is, they'll say that child is dyslexic, that child is dysgraphia, and all of those things. Right, so it can mostly be mistaken for laziness if you do not know, and that's why you need to be in that place of knowledge. A lot of the time, we come and complain. We come and say that this child is dumb. This child is this. He's just lazy, because we don't understand that child. Right, so we mistake it for laziness, we mistake it for behavior issues, we mistake it of that child is not even motivated to learn, she's not even ready, she's just this, she's just that. Right, so it can be dyslexia, it can be dysgraphia, dyscalculia, it could be ADHD, several things. So, but before we come to that conclusion, there are certain things that we need to have put in place first. There are certain things that we need to put in place first. How does this child learn? Okay, yes, we are teaching this child how he learns, but there's something wrong. Then you want to start looking in that direction. Does this child have a particular learning disability? I know someone who is very smart, and that person has, has a problem with identifying left and right. The person knew about it when the person started driving. So when they say move right, the person is moving left. They might be very subtle, but they are there. So you want to find out, does this child have a particular learning disability? So children who have learning disability can't really be helped in school, except you as a parent, you personally get involved. You have to be involved. Because even if you look at the type of system we have, a lot of teachers don't even know. And they turn children as lazy, they beat them and they do several things. Like we always say that if you put a child in a car to drive and you have not given that child the skills of driving, and if you beat that child from today till tomorrow, that child will not still drive because the child does not know how to drive. The child does not know how to drive. So this is something we need to really look into. This is something that is very important. Right? We need to equip them with the things that they actually need. And the school can't do it alone. That's why we are that primary person that our children need. So you need to personally get involved with knowledge. You can't get involved if you don't have the right knowledge, of course. With knowledge, not with noise, not with chaos, not with insults, not with beating, not with all of those things, those negative things. No, because those things don't actually help. They don't help in any way. They just compound the problem. So if you don't primarily understand how a child learns, you will not be able to help that child. This is something that you need to know. So apart from school success, understanding your child's learning style will help you to also build effective disciplinary strategy. So we're talking now about school success. We're talking about learning style. But then learning style is not just limited. Knowing how your child learns is not just limited to setting them up for success. This is something that also helps you to, it helps you to discipline them in the right way. So it helps you to discipline them for them to have that disciplinary strategy for you to put the right one. Because of course, like we have always said, that discipline is teaching. So if you want to teach a child, but you don't know how that child learns, what happens? You will be frustrated. You will just be in that space whereby you keep complaining, how does this child learn? What exactly, and things like that. So this is something that is very important. So it's because discipline is simply teaching. And if you don't understand how a child learns, you can't really teach that child. So you have to understand who you are raising. Like I said, this is something that is very important. And, from the whole of my journey, I came to understand that children are different. And if you don't understand their uniqueness, you will struggle with them. You'll be frustrated. And that's why, this is a very important topic that I am looking forward to, to teach to parents who are going to be a part of our community come 2026, inshallah. May Allah spare our lives, right? So if you have not registered, please register for the community. If you are in that space whereby you are still contemplating, by the end of September, the price is going to 65,000 naira, which is supposed to be that original price. But because we want people to be able to afford this inner circle, we want them to be able to, to be in that space whereby they keep learning for their children. That's why I decided, okay, let's announce this early. Let's make it 50,000 naira, a discounted price, and let's allow people to pay instrumentally. But then if you're unable to register by the end of September, the price is going from 50,000 naira to its original price. And I tell you, even if you pay that 65,000 naira, the value that you will be getting, inshallah, God willing, is nothing compared to what you are going to be paying. So it's still okay. Right? But then please be there. Don't miss it for anything. Be a part of this beautiful thing, because what is about to come is nothing compared to what you have seen about LLP. This I assure you. Right? So, like I was saying, one thing that I have learned is that if there's something that you are struggling with, if you are struggling with something, anything at all, your marriage, your parenting, your career, anything, if you are struggling with it, it means that maybe there is still a particular knowledge that you need to gain in relation to that thing. And it's mostly because you don't have that right knowledge to tackle that thing well. By the time you get the right knowledge, you find out that things will go, things will go to an extent whereby you see that, okay, you see that visible transformation in whatever it is that you do. Right? So this is something that is very important. Right? So you need to be in that space whereby you continually get knowledge. And the moment you start to get the right knowledge, the better it becomes, right? It's time for Salatul Isha, and the adhan is so loud, right? So, understanding how your child learns also helps you. It helps to enhance your child's study skills, right? If you definitely understand how your child learns, you are able to put the things that will help your child to effectively study as they go, as they grow into older children, as they grow into older children. Right? So instead of being that helicopter parent whereby you want to over around your child, you want to just be in that place whereby you rescue your children, you must always be You must always be in that place whereby you understand the things to equip them with, because you will not always be with them. You won't be with them in class. But then when they themselves have been able to take charge of how they learn, it's easier for them. So you can be there when your child is doing homework, but you can't be there when learning and teaching and learning is occurring in school. Right? So don't be in that place whereby the only support you can give your child is negative ones with fearful tools, with just tools that makes them fear, that makes them be in that space whereby they are thinking about their safety first before they are thinking about learning, or they are not even thinking about learning at all. All they are thinking about is how to be safe. So supporting your children is something that is important. So you need to be in that place whereby you understand how they learn. You hold them accountable on their journey. It is their journey. So hold them accountable for it, and not you always bailing them out. That's why the best form of discipline is what? Who knows? I've said this several times. It's self-discipline. So if you're saying your own disciplinary strategy is just for you to shout, to beat, and do all of these things, when you are not there, what's going to happen? So the best form of discipline is self-discipline. You need to be in that place whereby you discipline your children to be self-disciplined. So whenever it is that you are not there, they will still be able to do the right thing. I'm so sorry about that. A call came in. I'm so sorry. So you need to be in that place whereby you discipline them for them to become self-disciplined. This is something that is important. You can't always be with them, right? The next thing is that you need to create a system that improves your child's responsibility quotient. The ability to respond, responsibility, is just from that word, responsibility. So you need to create a system that improves your child's responsibility, their ability to respond to the things around them. So setting your children up for success requires that you help them improve their ability to respond to either situations or things around them. If they're able to respond to the things around them, they will definitely be able to respond to their academics. They will be able to be, they will hold themselves accountable for their journey. So how do you do this? It is through chores. Let them be responsible. We have age-appropriate chores that you can give your children, no matter how young they are. If you are still in that space whereby you don't know about it, we have an ebook on our seller page. It's titled "Little Hand, Big Help." It's for I think it's just about 1,500 or 2,000 naira. You can go get it to start giving your children age-appropriate chores that they should do. Let them be responsible. Raise them to be responsible. Don't say because they are going to school, then they stop cleaning the house with you. Because they are going to school, they stop doing. What happens when they get to the university? Won't they eat because they are having exams? Let them be able to learn it from now. It's mostly through chores. That's how you can raise responsible people. And the truth about this thing is that when our children are very young, they love to do all of these things. They want to do it. You are sweeping, they also want to take the broom. But we discourage them. Then when we discourage them and they grow older, we don't want to force them to do the things they were interested in doing, and we discourage them from doing. A lot of these things, if we don't know, we don't know. And that's why when we talk about all of these things and children who have younger children feels like it's not for them, I look at them like, you're just losing windows of opportunity. Right? So the more control and inputs that you are able to provide your child with in respect to their learning environment, their activities, the more engaged and motivated your child will become to learn. So you want to hold them responsible. You want them to be in control of their learning process. And I think I shared it in, one of the sessions of how you can actually set goals together with them. Set goals together with them. It's not just about you, it's about them. It's their journey. So your child would only learn to the extent to which you are able to give them control of their learning process, their learning experiences. And funny enough, that's where children get to know what they are interested in. You see, I always say that we should not raise children who now become like us. Then when we are now 20-something years, we have finished university, we now start thinking, what should I now start doing? What will I now start doing? Oh yeah, let me be selling shoes and bags. I'm not saying that those will, of course, if it is something that interests you, go on with it, do it. But then it should not be when our children have become adults that they now start thinking, what is that thing that I want to start doing? What is that thing? What is my calling? What is my purpose in life? And all of those things. Wasted years. So it is from holding them accountable. It is from making them have a control over their learning process that actually helps them to get to know whatever it is that they love to do. It is important. And it is when learning comes up, that's when you see children say, I learned something. I think I'm more interested in that. And I want to know more about this. Yes, they begin to know what interests them. This is something that is very important. So the more you do this, children are able to engage more with the things that they love. So you want to allow your children to, to succeed and or fail on their own. Let them fail. Failure is part of success. As a matter of fact, they will try several things. They will fail. But then if they don't give up, they continue and they succeed. Look at all of us today trying to do something. They will fail. There's a decision. They get to learn from that thing that has happened. But like I said, the fear of failure does not want us to make our children to be in that place whereby they fail. We always want them to pass. But life does not show things to us like that. Life is not even like that. We are in this life to strive, to struggle. But then you can still be an advantage for your child. So your inability to let your children fail is a problem on its own. And that's why you want to make their own work perfect. You want them to make their exam perfect. Let them fail now. Let them fail. There'll always be another opportunity. Your child, look at how tough, look at how we can face life problems. Those of us that, had to write WAEC 2 times, 3 times, had write JAM 2 times, 3 times. It actually contributed to something. You might not know, but it is there. But because we just want to over our children, we say things like, the struggle that I went through, I don't want my children. Do you know, even if it is that struggle that made you who you are today, if you have, and you are able to navigate through life, do you know? So you don't want to put your children in that space whereby you take everything from there that they are supposed to learn from. This is something that is very important. We're already using more than our time, but we are rounding off very soon, inshallah. So if your child is not failing, your child is not learning. You need to know that. So they will fail. Of course, it's just primary school, secondary school results. It does not define who your children are in life. It doesn't. You need to know that. So don't underestimate the power of consequences. There's a quote by Caroline Wakefield which says that the most successful students are those who learn to be responsible, dependable, and organized through trial and error. I'll take that again. The most successful students are those who learn to be responsible, to be dependable, and organized through trial and error. So sometimes the best life lessons come from failure or learning how not to do something. Because if you do it, like in LLP, we say that there are no failures. They are just feedbacks. Yes, when you fail, you want to look at it again. Yes, what went wrong? What happened? That there are no failures. They are just feedbacks. Right? So you want to look at it again. So the best life lessons comes from failure or learning how not to do something. So you did it this way. You failed at it. That's to tell you that, okay, yes, this is not the right way to do it. Let me go back again. It might take time, but you will eventually get it. It's the same thing for children. So when parents in essence do the child's work for them, you are denying the student the practice that he needs, the responsibility of taking care of an assignment, and the satisfaction that comes with completing an assignment. That's all that you have taken away from your children. You have not given them the opportunity to learn. You have not given them the opportunity to practice what they need. You have not given them the responsibility to take care of what has been assigned to them and for them to get the joy and the satisfaction of completing that assignment. You have taken all those things away from them. The moment you're in that space whereby you're just, you're hovering over them, you're just that helicopter parent, you're bailing them out. You want everything to go smoothly. You have taken so many things away from them that they are supposed to learn from. Right. And the last thing that we're going to be talking about is we becoming an advantage for our children. This is something that I have said over and over and over again. Right? We need to become an advantage for our children. Right? A child becomes what a child is, he becomes who raised him. Right? So a child is a product of who raised them, the environments they were raised, and what those who raised them know as at the time they were being raised. If you are able to put yourself as an advantage for your child, it makes a lot of difference. I was thinking about something personally. I know someone who has a brand, who is trying to build a brand, and That person has a sister who has built a brand to, a reasonable place, right? And that person has more influence and all of those things. And the person that I am talking about now is also trying to build a brand, just like I'm trying to build, a brand. And because that other person has a sister who already has an influence on people, is using that person's influence. And you would visibly see that, okay, yes, I am visibly seeing that this person has an advantage over me. Because yes, that platform is there for him already, which I do not have. It's the same thing for our children. If you become an advantage for your child, you will definitely you put them in places whereby if you were not an advantage, they might struggle to get there. But then being an advantage for your child does not mean that we should be in that place whereby we are bailing them out. No. But being an advantage for your child is getting the right knowledge and equipping them with the right knowledge. I don't know if we're getting this. So a child is a product of who raised them. Your child will become you. They will become you, but then they have the opportunity of becoming better. And that's what we want. A lot of the time, parents pray so hard and say that, okay, yes, our children should be better than us. But the truth is, what are you giving your child to make them better than you? This is something that is important. So the knowledge that you have as at the time you're raising your child is a contributing factor to their success. Don't destroy your children due to your own nonchalant attitude of ego. That's the popular thing. It's God that raises children. That's the popular thing that we see. But then we want to think about it. If it is God that actually raises children, why would God give them to us in that little form? Think about it. It is our responsibility. It is not God's responsibility. It is our own responsibility to parent our children. It is Allah's responsibility to protect them for us. So we can't be in that place whereby we are protecting and we're not parenting. No. This is something that is very important. You can only help your child to the extent to which you know. You can only help your child to the extent to which you know. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. We're rounding up very soon. So you can't help your child with what you know nothing about. If you don't know about it, there's nothing you can do, right? The more you know, the better you become. The more you know, the better you are able to offer. The more you know, the more you are able to do better, right? So, and I leave you with this, thing that's, of course, the more you know, the better you become, the better you are able to give your children. This is something that's very, very important, right? So, like I said before during the session, the LLP community is open for registration. And if you want to be a part of it, you can register for only 5,000 naira and spread the remaining amount over the remaining months in the year before January 2026, right? If you register before the end of September, you still get it for 50,000 naira, but after then, it's going back to 65,000 naira, which is the original price. So if this is something you want to be a part of, you need to register right before the end of September. This is going to be featuring so many things: connection and discipline tools, everyday connection and discipline tools from us, of course. We're going to be having our fortnight inner circle, webinar, whereby we're going to be talking about so many topics when it comes to parenting. We're definitely going to have book reviews. We're definitely going to have, a platform whereby you can ask questions, you can talk. You have that platform of like-minded parents who also want the same thing, who want something good for their children, right? This is all coming, right, through LLP, inshallah. So to be a part of this, like I have said, register with only 5,000 naira and spread the remaining amounts before the 1st of January 2026, inshallah, when the program is going to start. Like I said, this is not just a program, right? It's a movement, it's a community, right, that we're trying to build. And I hope that Allah spares our life until then and beyond, inshallah. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it, Sister Aziza, Abdullah, Sister Idaya, Miss Amina. Thank you so much for joining me. This is well appreciated. Sister Naima, yes, thank you so much. We also have a couple of, Abus amongst us. Thank you so much for coming. Please, when you are coming again next week Friday, be sure to come with someone. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that we are learning here. And of course, only if you are not getting value would you say that you don't want to invite someone. But please, it is free of charge for everyone. So why won't you invite other people to also come and benefit from this? This is something that is very important. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Last time, I would appreciate that you can, just drop one value that you are taking away from today. Like I always say, if you come to sessions like this, don't just leave. it's not enough for you to just leave, right? I was reflecting on a verse of the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah that says that we should not give foolish people our wealth, because of course they are going to waste it, right? And this is something that Allah has given us as sustenance. I see knowledge as wealth also, because of course knowledge is wealth. But then if I am giving it free of charge, I believe that I am not giving foolish people. And of course, if you are not taking all of these things that we're learning here, if you are not, putting it into practice, it is putting it into practice that will actually get you results, of course, right? Yes, the child is not learning. Thank you so much for sharing that, right? It is when you put it into, when you implement, that's when you get results. So it's not enough to just listen. Implement so that you get results, right? Thank you so much for joining me again. See you next week, Friday, inshallah, right? If you are not following us, please, on our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, we're there as Lola Lost Parenting. You want to follow us so that you don't miss out on anything. Amin wa antum fajazakumullahu khairan. Thank you once again. See you again next Friday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.